Autodesk is a software company that provides tools for architects, engineers, and designers to imagine, design, and create a better world. So for us, Autodesk, we have been around for about 40 years. So it started off way back in 1982. We have just launched our 2024 release. I think, if I'm not mistaken, more than a week back. And I would say there are more workflows that are being associated with the cloud. Over the years, we have been constantly updating those workflows to make it more seamless for our users. So some changes that were included, like for example, like markup imports, understanding the drawing histories, and publishing your drawings directly to the cloud are some of the enhancements that we have been constantly updating in the AutoCAD application. In the early 2000s, moving from 2D workflows to 3D, moving into BIM is one of those disruptions that we have seen, pretty much because of coordination work. So trying to eliminate reworks at the construction site. This is where BIM was introduced to the industry. So we have seen a lot of customers that are experiencing like potential reworks that has to be done on site, and it delays projects and increases costs for the owners. So that's why BIM was introduced during that era. So in terms of files, like for example, moving from one version to another, there's an upgrade path that you could do. So you can open backdated versions of AutoCAD to newer versions, right? But once you save it, you can save that in that particular version. But for AutoCAD, you can also save a version back using AutoCAD files. But for BIM applications, it's forward compatible but not backwards, right?
Hello, builders. Welcome to ProsTalk. So, for those who maybe are just tuning in today, ProsTalk is a social corporate responsibility of building. So, this is a platform for anyone who builds. For anyone who is interested to know anything about construction, project management, engineering, architecture, and anything about this business. We have a broad network of partners that can provide you with insights and experiences that can help you in the field. So today, we are joined with our guest, Mr. John Rivas of Autodesk. Good morning, Sir John.
Good morning, Philip.
Good morning. So before we start, can you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
All right, thanks, Philip. So I'm John, one of the technical specialists in Autodesk. As you may not know, Autodesk is a software company that provides tools for architects, engineers, and designers to imagine, design, and create a better world. So for us, Autodesk, we have been around for about 40 years. So it started off way back in 1982. And in Autodesk, I've been here for about close to 10 years now. And I've been involved in projects from manufacturing and also construction.
All right, great. So, in a while na rin po pala. So, in this industry, what type of projects have you handled?
Yeah, so in Autodesk, I've handled a few roles, I would say. So I've been involved in projects for building design. So let's say I specialize in MEP. And also prior to construction projects, I've been involved in manufacturing as well. So for example, designing cars and also equipments. So I have served the two industries, and I've seen the convergence between these two industries, which is construction and also manufacturing.
Okay, so for everyone, information, so si Autodesk or AutoCAD or Revit, hindi lang siya for engineering, architecture. So meron din palang automotive, right, sir?
Yes, sir. So for cars like such as something that's been designed in Asia, right, like Proton and Perodua. So we have there are customers in Malaysia that actually designs cars.
That's great. That's great. So po tayo sa kay Autodesk, no? So can you explain any anticipated changes to the user interface in the upcoming updates of Autodesk?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have just launched our 2024 release. I think, if I'm not mistaken, more than a week back. And I would say there are more workflows that are being associated with the cloud. Over the years, we have been constantly updating those workflows to make it more seamless for our users. So some changes that were included, like for example, like markup imports, understanding the drawing histories, and publishing your drawings directly to the cloud are some of the enhancements that we have been constantly updating in the AutoCAD application.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I've been using Autodesk, AutoCAD specifically for quite some time na rin. So, actually,
Mhm.
magandang innovation to cloud since, alam mo yun, ito yun, we're working, madalas work from home, right? So, happy work from home, hybrid, and face-to-face. So, malaking help yung cloud for working, multiple persons, right?
Yes, that's correct. And we have seen organizations transition easily. Unfortunately, a lot of the disruption happened for our industries, especially due to COVID. So it forced a lot of organizations to work in a hybrid environment. Um, those companies that adopted to cloud earlier weren't that impacted when COVID hit. So for those companies that didn't adopt to the cloud, before the pandemic, they have easily like, okay, let's faster make our transition to digitized workflows. So majority of the evolution for the different organizations, right, is because of this disruption as well. COVID is one of them.
So for my next question, in the next year, so what can we expect from AutoCAD or Autodesk in the next 5 years?
So in the next 5 years, so this is based on my personal view.
Okay.
When Autodesk started off with promoting digitized workflows from paper-based workflows, so I've been in that generation where you need to have to utilize your T-squares and your triangles and your French curves to draw on paper, right? And the biggest disruption during that era is moving that workflows on paper-based workflows to digitized workflows, and thus AutoCAD was born during that era. So it's around the 1982 timeframe.
Mhm.
Um, in the early 2000s, moving from 2D workflows to 3D, moving into BIM is one of those disruptions that we have seen, pretty much because of coordination work. So trying to eliminate reworks at the construction site. This is where BIM was introduced to the industry. So we have seen a lot of customers that are experiencing like potential reworks that has to be done on site, and it delays projects and increases costs for the owners. So that's why BIM was introduced during that era. So later on, I think in the early 2020s, we see more digitized workflows utilizing the cloud. So going back to your question, in the next 5 years, I would say there'll be more and more workflows that would be available in cloud, and also with the emergence of AI and machine learning. Those are some of the workflows that we are tapping on. So if you may not know, AutoCAD is actually available through a web browser. So you may not rely on desktop applications anymore, whereas applications can be readily available just by having an internet connection and a web browser. So you can actually design from anytime, anywhere as well.
That's really great. So para siyang, actually, it's like Google Drive, right? Parang available na siya online and via browser.
Yeah. So that is available in Formit. It is available in AutoCAD, and with the launch of Forma as well. So we see more and more applications that we are developing would be available using a web browser.
Yeah, great. And I totally agree with your opinion, sir.
Mm.
So for my next question, how did AutoCAD cope up with a few softwares in the market with regards to compatibility with the softwares, like for example, point clouds and other relevant softwares?
Mm. That's a great question. So in our industry, there's no one tool that can actually get all of the job done. So we accept the fact that the industry may need to utilize different platforms or tools to deliver a project. And I would say, based on this requirement, it is mainly because disruption in the industry that is experiencing, whether like for example, like COVID, as I example mentioned earlier on in our conversation, and some trends that the demand of construction projects are rapidly increasing because of the people trying to move into cities to live. So those are some of the disruptions that forces people to actually deliver in a much more faster and efficient way. Thus, they may require different tools to, let's say, for example, to deliver a project. But in Autodesk, we provide a comprehensive set of solutions that can help deliver a project from start to finish, right? So from pre-planning stage all the way to construction and handover. So within Autodesk applications, so going back to the question, within Autodesk applications, we have interoperable workflows that helps transfer data from one application to another. Like for third-party applications, we do have plugins that works with different tools. Like for example, like AutoCAD with Recap, or for example, AutoCAD with Revit. So there are interoperable workflows that can be installed with those applications, and that is from an application level. But in terms of, for example, like files that has to be pass on from one user to another by using a different applications. So we do have, we can also export information to a neutral format using IFC. So for industry foundation classes. So for our construction industry, IFC is one of the tools can be used as a coordination format.
Yeah, that's great. Also, you've mentioned about plugins and tools, right? So can you
Mhm.
discuss specific tool sets or features that have been recently added?
Yeah, so for the new tools that we have added in Autodesk recently, I would just maybe highlight two, but there are a lot actually. Um, One of the tools that we have added recently are tools for urban planners and real estate professionals. So this is an application called Forma. It was previously known as Spacemaker, which is an acquisition by Autodesk. So now Forma has been added to the AC collection that is intended from pre-planning phase and for or for example during the conceptual design stage. So this tool actually leverage on cloud workflows. So there's no desktop applications that needs to be used. You can just simply use your web browser and an internet connection to actually create, like for example, conceptual stage of a project or a site. So with these tools, it helps you to actually generate different layouts of a site with different proposals. So you can incorporate, like for example, sun shadow analysis, microclimate analysis, and also wind analysis, or for example, the number of layouts or number of units that is available for, let's say, that building. So that is for designers, right? So we have another tool that we have also launched recently called Autodesk Tandem. So Autodesk Tandem is also a cloud-based application where it's used for operations and maintenance of a building. So the information of BIM doesn't sit only during design and also construction phase. So now we can extend it to the owners and also those who are actually managing the assets of a building. So instead of using paper-based drawings and forms that is being handed over to owners as part of the deliverable of a contractor or consultant after the project has been completed, that information in BIM is now extended to operations and maintenance phase. So the owners can actually utilize the information generated from the BIM models, and then it could be used for, like for example, maintaining the assets, understanding when the equipment has been installed, when it needs to be maintained. So that information can be retrieved on even towards the post-construction phase.
Okay, okay, that's really great. I mean, uh, it not really helps in the construction phase, but also you know sa end users natin.
Yes, towards the end of the project, no? So
Yeah.
instead of like generating like forms or spreadsheets, or for example information that needs to be printed out and then later pass it on to the let's say to the owner, that they will just stack these printed sheets of paper on a box that never gets opened. So that information can be actually stored digitally and you can retrieve it easily, no? Using our tandem platform.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. And then yeah, the innovation nowadays is really helpful for us. So
Mm.
for example, yung yeah, before medyo nababaon kasi yung mga plans na for example, syempre it helps them the future contractors, for example, magkakaroon renovation or something. It helps the next contractor to, for example, for the renovation, at least nalolocate nila yung, specific areas house.
So now it's not no longer cradle to grave, right? So
Yeah.
for in the Philippines, we haven't seen much of like cradle to grave workflows, but cradle to cradle, right? Meaning in the event that you need to rectify, for example, an existing asset that you might have, especially for pipes, let's say beneath the walls or above ceiling, right? In the event that you want to do some rectification works and you need to understand what's behind that, then at least you can easily avoid them as long as the as-built plans are updated correctly.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So for my next question, so uh, for example, I before I experienced transitioning from AutoCAD. So I tried AutoCAD 2011, and then I've had the time that I think 1 to 2 years na haven't used AutoCAD, and then I resume. My next version will be 20, I think 2015 or 17. So
Mm.
in line with this, how did Autodesk, does Autodesk address the compatibility issues between updated versions of AutoCAD and third-party software used in this industry?
Yeah, so in terms of files, like for example, moving from one version to another, there's an upgrade path that you could do. So you can open backdated versions of AutoCAD to newer versions, right? But once you save it, you can save that in that particular version. But for AutoCAD, you can also save a version back using AutoCAD files. But for BIM applications, it's forward compatible but not backwards, right? So in the event that you need to utilize different third-party applications, as I mentioned in my previous statement, right? You can actually export as a neutral format, or you can utilize, like for example, DWG files or IFC to help you transition, right? In terms of, for example, third-party applications that are being used, we also rely to our developer partners to address some of those compatibility issues, right? So our partners are part of the Autodesk Developer Network. So third party is also sometimes our developers as well, where you can access the APIs, the documentation, and help forums to help them resolve issues with those compatibility issues.
All right, that's great. Thanks for answering the question. Okay, Sir John, for my next question, can you discuss any recent addition or innovation on 3D drafting or modeling tool in Autodesk?
In terms of 2D drafting and design, I think just to plug some latest enhancements in our AutoCAD application, we have tools that are recently launched, like we call them smart blocks. So with the smart blocks, you can actually quickly find what type of blocks that you would like to use or search for using machine learning suggestions. So those one of the enhancements. So if let's say if you need to utilize recently used blocks that you have used in your drawings, or for example, you want to do a substitute, you can do that with the latest enhancement. You can also automatically place those blocks in your drawing in the right position, and you can scale it once you have inserted it inside of your drawing. The intent here is that by leveraging such workflows, it reduces the amount of clicks that you have to perform using our tools. So with that development, the main intent is to further improve the productivity of our users.
Yeah, that's really great kasi actually isa ako sa yung experience na yan, like it's really great kasi it lessen the amount of time you finish your drafting.
Mhm.
So really great innovation. And so follow-up question lang for what about sa production side, for example, the rendering?
So in terms of rendering, right now there is an addition in our portfolio, and we call it Twin Motion for Revit, which is a third party from Autodesk that provides real-time visualization of your designs. So with a click of a button from the Revit application, you can instantly create real-time visualization of your projects. So you don't need to actually create a camera view and then wait for the rendered image to come up from your screen. So by using Twinmotion for Revit, you can easily analyze, or I would say visualize the scene that you have generated from Revit, and then perform like walkthroughs and then generate different entourages so that you can actually propose to your clients easily. So that's one. Another one that I could mention is workflows on cloud then as well. So in the event that you want to create a still image of the views that you have created either in AutoCAD or Navisworks or even Revit, you can yet leverage the power of the cloud to generate those still images for you so that you don't even have to utilize your computer resources to run the visualization output. So you can use it for your project brochures or, for example, design proposals back to your clients.
So are there any integrations with other Autodesk products or third-party tools in the most recent update?
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the question. I would say I would mention two of my favorite updates from our end. And this is actually in development works right now. Although our customers have access to this tech preview. So there are two. So one is the data exchange tool, and then the other one is we call it Carbon Insights, right? So within Revit. So I'll just explain first about data exchange. Traditionally, when we need to collaborate, let's say two of us, if we need to collaborate, I have to give you a DWG file, right? So for you to edit and make changes, or I have to give you a Revit file for you to link it back to your project. Traditionally, that's how we're going to collaborate, right? So with the data exchange, the intent here is that to eliminate the usage of files for collaboration, meaning we can just simply collaborate just based on data that is hosted on a common data environment. So that is very, I would say, a great breakthrough for collaboration because it would help users to basically just pass you information without the need of downloading them and storing it locally in your machine. Although this functionality is a tech preview, so it's only available currently in Revit, in our Inventor application, and even third-party tools such as Rhino. And then another one that I would like to mention is called our tool within Insight. So we have Carbon Insights that is available already as a tech preview as well for Revit. So with a few clicks and also leveraging on cloud workflows, it can actually analyze the environmental impact of your designs by just specifying what type of materials that you're going to use in your project. So for our architects out there or engineers, so if in the event that if you want to propose a more sustainable material, like here in Singapore, where I'm based at, we are actually seeing more usage of wood as an alternative material from concrete. So in the event that, let's say, you want to change different types of materials for your project to propose for, let's say, more environmental or eco-friendly materials, so you can actually analyze that using Carbon Insights. So with a few clicks, you can just specify what type of materials you're going to use, and using cloud, it will tell you the embodied carbon of your designs.
All right. It's really great to hear about the innovations on Autodesk and AutoCAD. So,
Mm.
lastly, so I want to thank you, Sir John, for this very informative talk, and it's really nice to have you here in PostTalk. So before we end, can you promote your company and how to reach you and your social media?
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Philip, as well for your time and inviting us and allowing us to talk for your session. So if you guys have want to reach out, and if you have any question, we have a team in our region that can help address your needs. So you can reach out to me at john.rivas@autodesk.com. You can also follow me at LinkedIn, where I actually share information about the latest trends and also workflows. And if you're a Dynamo enthusiast, I actually publish some of my work in my LinkedIn forum. And also, you can look out for the upcoming webinars that we're launching for Revit What's New and some of the trade shows locally in the Philippines.
All right, that's great. Okay, once again, Sir John Rivas, thank you for joining our PostTalk episode. All right, so to our viewers, our PostTalk episode of PBT, thank you for watching.